everyone.
What's up guys, Unofficial MCU here. Hope you're all doing well and welcome to my overview video into the regards of all of the upcoming new Marvel movies releasing in the new year of 2024. There is more than just one Marvel movie that they're being a part of the MCU, Deadpool3, that is releasing next year. There's a handful of a couple other Marvel movies that aren't necessarily specific for the MCU, as well as other shows that I'll briefly touch on here in this video as well. So stay tuned for that, but we're going to go ahead and hop right on into it. So with that being said, between Sony and the MCU, or Marvel Studios, there is a number of exciting Marvel movies releasing in 2024. While the MCU is the first thing that comes to mind to most moviegoers when it comes to Marvel, the release of movies like Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse have provided a first-hand look at the idea that other Marvel movies can be phenomenally successful at that, making 2024's release roster all the more hotly anticipated. However, recent Marvel movie configurations have left how many movies actually are going to be releasing in 2024 a little bit more confusing than it may have previously appeared to be. That's exactly why I'm here. Various Marvel movies and shows have seen their release dates changed and shuffled around quite a bit as a result of the recent reorganization of the effects of the SAG-AFTRA and the Writers Guild of America, the WGA Hollywood strikes that had kind of taken over Hollywood for the most part of last year, bringing a number of projects, productions, movie shows to a halt, meaning that they weren't able to work on them, which of course had resulted in a delayed number of impending installments. These factors have meant some movies saw drastic changes, either being moved from 2023 into 2024, or even at that, moved farther and further into 2024, or in an unusual case, actually brought forward as a result. While the roster of Marvel movies releasing in 2024 has seen some notable alterations, the current lineup still holds a lot of promise and should provide audiences a stellar variety of film experiences. And with that being said, also in mind, movies that were supposed to be releasing in 2024 originally have also seen a pushback to 2025 and so forth and so on. This year all being said though, however, that's enough jibble jabble. Madam Web, coming out on February 14th of this year, is our first Marvel movie releasing a part of the Sonyverse. Next year's Marvel slate currently starts out with a much speculated about Sony movie, as the ambitious Madam Web finally is going to swing into theaters for a February 14th, 2024 release after Sony's Marvel movie release changes had moved it forward by 2 days. The film has assembled quite an entertaining cast, with the female-led Marvel adventure featuring an all-star ensemble. Madam Web's cast includes Dakota Johnson, Sydney Sweeney, Emma Roberts, Isabella Merced, and Adam Scott. The movie will combine 3 different Spider-Man comic heroes in the shape of 2 versions of Spider-Woman and Spider-Girl, alongside Madam Web herself. And so, moving on to the next movie releasing for 2024 under the MCU is the highly anticipated one and only Deadpool3, releasing on July 26th of this year, 2024. Deadpool3 also notably is the only MCU, like Marvel Cinematic Universe specifically, movie to be releasing next year. All the rest are part of the Sonyverse. Deadpool 3 mark a new era for the MCU, with the movie set to be the first time Marvel Studios reintroduces a Fox character as a lead of an MCU movie. And on top of that, it is also going to be the first Marvel R-rated movie, a part of the MCU, as Echo looks to be the first R-rated MCU show. The movie marks the return of not only Ryan Reynolds as Deadpool, but also Hugh Jackman as Wolverine, despite the actor saying that he was going to be done with the role in the past multiple times. Deadpool 3 releases on July 26th this year after being pushed back from a prior date of May 3rd of this year, which itself was an alternate date, as the film's initial scheduled release was actually November 8th, 2024. So it was being presumed to be releasing a lot later in the year, has been brought forward and pushed back a little bit. However, despite this pushback and its changes around with its release, Deadpool 3 has had a huge chance of next year and having its biggest superhero movie release for next year, in a part of because it's not only currently Disney's only 2024 MCU movie, so it doesn't have much of a competition, with Captain America Brave New World and the Thunderbolts movie also being moved into the 2025 window. Ultimately, it appears that this may be a wise move, as the announcement of this rescheduled alterations came after the conclusion of the Hollywood strikes, suggesting that these decisions were made so that the films can have a full production time without being rushed, as we all kind of prefer quality over quantity. And so that brings us to our next Marvel movie movie for a 2024 release, that there being the Kraven the Hunter movie, a part of the Sonyverse, releasing on August 30th of this year. The last of 2024's Sony Spider-Man Universe movies sees Kraven the Hunter releasing on August 30th, 2024, after being pushed notably back from its previous release date of October 3rd of last year. While this is a move that could sabotage any hype already built up, it's also one that may work in the film's overall benefit and favor, as its initial closer proximity of its infamous Morbius drew jokes that may be avoided with its later release, as into the sense of that a lot of the criticisms and just jokes overall made about the Sony Morbius movie wouldn't be the same case for the Kraven the Hunter, but history may repeat itself. A positive reception is crucial here for the Kraven the Hunter movie, as Kraven the Hunter's plot provides an alternate origin story for Aaron Taylor Johnson's version of the titular Spider-Man villain that could be intended to spawn its own distinct series, as into the sense that Sony wants to take not only this character, but the rest of its world-building universe overall of the Sonyverse, essentially, that also includes the Madam Web movie, and also the Venom movies, which we'll touch on in just a moment, and making it into a much larger cohesive universe, very similar to what the MCU is, except for, Sony and more specified towards Spider-Man, really, at that. Indeed, this decision appears intended to make Kraven a prospective anti-hero in the Sony live-action movie universe, potentially even leading into a Sinister Six installment, should the film do well enough. That there brings us to our next Marvel movie releasing under the Sonyverse slate, that there being Venom 3 for a November 8th of 2024 release. Venom 3 is set for a November 8th, 2024 release after being moved back from its original June 24th of this year release. Venom 3 can not only flesh out whether this moment was a fun crossover moment or something more, but it can also shed some more light on exactly what went on with Sony's Marvel Universe is set to look like in the future, as the third movie is the most successful series of Sony's live-action Spider-Man universe. Fingers crossed for that. Venom 3, very similar to with what Marvel Studios specifically is doing with Deadpool 3, is being essentially fast-track, as pretty much like 2 weeks after the strikes had concluded, about, 2-3 months ago now actually, they had pretty much fast-tracked it to begin its production like right now, whereas to a lot of other productions and projects going on in Hollywood, we're waiting until after the new year, around nowish actually, January to February, to begin their, productions and filming. But Sony has taken that initiative to fast-track it essentially. And so one last tidbit that we may see in 2024 for coming specifically from the Sonyverse is Spider-Man Beyond the Spider-Verse, which is simply a TBD, to be determined. We don't actually know if it's going to be releasing this year. Initially conceived as its two parts of the same movie, the next two entries in Sony's Academy Award-winning animated Spider-Man verse movie franchise were separated. The Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse releasing June of last year to be massive critical and commercial success, very, very amazing movie. Following the second movie, Spider-Man Beyond the Spider-Verse was initially announced to be released on March 29th of 2024. However, the Sony Marvel movie changes have seen Beyond the Spider-Verse's release date seemingly removed and missing from this 2024 slate, and the pending release change to an undetermined date due to the Hollywood strikes. While the strikes did not affect animators necessarily, they did affect the actors lending their voices to the characters within the movie. Essentially, a lot of the animation work for Spider-Verse Beyond the Spider-Verse is done, but the actual voice work isn't done. So I don't really want to build up too much hype for that there. And so this year is going to be all of the upcoming Marvel movies releasing in the new year of 2024. There's a lot to look forward to and a lot to keep up with. Is exactly what we are here for on Unofficial MCU. Grab that subscribe button if you haven't already. I'll have another video coming out here shortly as an overview video for all of the upcoming Marvel shows, specifically releasing in this year, because that deserves its own video, guys. This year all being said, I would love to hear all of your thoughts and opinions in the comment section down below. What are you guys looking forward to seeing most in the new year with Marvel, all the different movies, and maybe even some of the shows? I would love to hear all of your thoughts and opinions and theories in the comment section down below. Thanks so much for watching today's video. Of course, this has been Unofficial MCU. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Have a great one. Peace out.